In this episode of OG55, I am joined by the Italiano. We are talking about Disney's Animal Kingdom. What will go beyond the tropical Americas? What can they do to expand this incredible land? There's a lot of IP potential here. We're going to talk about it, break it down up next on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We are talking all about Disney's Animal Kingdom today. The Italiano is with me. George, welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me back on. It's always a good time. And during the time of this recording, I will be leaving tomorrow yet again. This time heading back down to Florida for my second Disney cruise within the month, doing a 4-night Bahamian cruise on the Disney Wish. So looking forward to it.
And by the time of the release of this video, he will be on the high seas already.
Yes.
Absolutely. George, if you let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. We had a really good, not to digress too much, I don't want to go too far off the beaten path here, but we had a really fun live show, which was last night. But by the time of this is viewed by all of you, it'll be a few days ago. But we had Tones and Jay Shear on, and it was so much fun. We were talking all kinds of shit, having fun. We had Wicked Virtue in the chat for the first time in a while. We had, of course, we had Maybe in there, Abigail, just all our friends. It was just a fantastic time. CSRS, I believe, was in there as well.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I love the live shows, man. They're just so much
They
fun.
are. They're so great where we could actually interact with our viewers and the community that we kind of, I don't want to say create, because we didn't necessarily create, but it was like the environment that we give our viewers. It's like, I love how they get us, they understand us, and they know how to kind of play to our jokes and our sarcasm. Yeah. And it's like, they just get right into it. And I love it.
I love it
because it makes the live shows so much more interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if somebody gives me material, I'll run with it.
Of course you will. Well, and this is the thing too. And I mean, as content creators, you're nothing without your audience. It's the audience that is,
exactly
the everything. It really is. And so when we get a chance to like just be that close to our audience and interact in real time like that, it's always a fun time. So we'll do more. When you get back, we'll have more live shows. Absolutely.
Definitely.
But now this topic was your idea. So you basically the idea behind this video, from what you explained to me, was we're going to get the tropical Americas. We're going to get the IP carousel. We're going to get the Encanto. I'm assuming some sort of Encanto dark ride. They didn't really give us too much detail on that. Encanto dark ride, and we're going to get Indiana Jones finally coming to Florida. Okay, so we know we're getting those IPs. Now, your idea for this video was like, okay, but this isn't really an expansion. They're replacing Dino Land. So once they get this area settled with Indy, Encanto, and the IP carousel, where can they go with this? How can they expand? So, George, set the stage, go ahead and let everybody know, and we'll kind of build from there.
Absolutely. So kind of going off of like the conversation we were having before we were recording of what you just had mentioned, I thought, well, hypothetically, what else could they utilize? Because with Dino Land USA, Disney was very limited to what they could do with the dinos, as far as because they are going down more of the IP path. And with like the term of dinosaurs, they only have two, really. They have Dinosaur, the 2000 movie, and Pixar's The Good Dinosaur. Nothing really that they can go by, and both of those movies didn't really do so hot. I'm not saying that they weren't good movies, but it's like not really in the popular, demographic, so to speak. So.
Yeah, and the thing too, not to interrupt, I'll come right back to you. I promise. I am so upset that people talk so much trash about The Good Dino. I thought that movie was absolutely adorable.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed The Good Dinosaur.
I loved it. I loved it with the little kid, little caveman kid. What's his name? Spot, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's adorable. It's a great movie. I don't know. Look, is it like a cinematic masterpiece? No, it's not. It doesn't have to be. It's a cute, fun movie.
And honestly, to Pixar's credit, I think from what they were given, that a movie actually came out of it, because they were like tugging back and forth like in production with this movie. It was like greenlit, then it was on hold. They didn't know if they were going to cancel it. They brought Peter Sohn to direct it after, I believe, I don't know if the other director dropped out or if they just replaced him, but yeah, so I'm just glad that they were able to make a movie out of it. But as far as incorporating it in the parks, you know, it was very limited to where they can go using the dinosaurs. So with the Tropical Americas, it's basically kind of widespread of utilizing that culture and that place and time where it's utilizing, again, basically South America. So it's like after Encanto, after Indiana Jones, what really can you do? And immediately, and actually, this was an idea of mine of putting this particular IP into Animal Kingdom even before they made the announcement of Tropical Americas. But now this gives an even brighter look at the possibility that it still could happen in the future, because when you look at the Tropical Americas now, we're looking at it as, okay, this is going to be something new, but eventually it won't be. It'll be a land, well, okay, down the road, how do we expand upon this? So
it's like the Avengers Campus thing. It's kind of a seed planting endeavor. A lot of people were very disappointed with Avengers Hallway. I mean, Avengers Campus. Shout out to Bricky for coming up with that. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But we got to get Bricky back on the show. It's been way too long, way too long. But look, this is the same kind of thing with Tropical Americas. It's a seed planting thing. Now that you have the land, now you can build upon it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So with Tropical Americas, which is basically set in South America, it brings my attention to Disney Pixar's Up. Up is, you know, they have Paradise Falls, which is a fictional land, but it's set in South America, which is where the Tropical Americas is based on. And I thought, in my mind, how awesome would it be that you would take a section of Tropical Americas, an expanded section, again, not replacing, you're going to expand.
Right.
And you see the two twin mountains that they show in the movie, and you have the waterfall coming down,
and do it like go big, right? Like this is like to not big. I mean, not to scale, obviously that's not possible, but like Cars Land style is what you're envisioning.
Cars
right?
Land, yeah, Cars Land rock work and Pandora waterfall style.
It's fantastic.
And then down below, then you have the lush greenery of like a tropical oasis, you know, in the kind of like the rainforest kind of setting of how it is in the movie. And then at the very top of the mountain, so to speak, you could see force perspective,
right?
The Up house that's Brilliant. Sitting there just like in the movie. And you see the balloons up on the house. And I think it's a perfect setting that they could do something like that with this kind of land.
Well, and Animal Kingdom, when I think of Animal Kingdom, obviously I think of animals, of course. And there's a lot of them in this movie, you know, a ton of them. But also just adventure. Animal Kingdom is an adventure park, 100%. And what movie represents and symbolizes adventure more than Up? Mm-hmm. It's perfect, man. It takes place in that region of the world. It's absolutely perfect.
And they already incorporate the IP in the park. It's well in there. Like the new bird show, I forget what it's called now, but they had a live show involving birds, and it was called Adventure is Up There.
Oh.
And, but they also have like meet and greets with Russell and Doug. They have the Wilderness Explorer kind of like training kind of scavenger hunt thing for kids to do in the park. So the Up brand is already embedded into the roots, no pun intended, of Animal Kingdom. So right. Why not incorporate a full-fledged land dedicated to Up? And people would argue to say, well, it doesn't necessarily have to do anything with animals. Well, does really Encanto or Indiana Jones? But they have, again, adventure, kind of animal, but culture.
Yeah, and that's the thing people seem to forget. And I'm no look, I'll be honest with you. I'm not like an expert on Animal Kingdom. I've only been twice, but if you look at the park, and even if the park on day one, yes, it's about animals, but a huge part of this is also about the culture and the regions of the world that these animals live in. It's not just animals. You know, you go through Asia, you go through Africa. I mean, it's so much more than just, you know, just an animal themed park. You know, when I was in, that's what I loved about Animal Kingdom. When I was there, I felt like I was there. I felt like I was in Asia. I felt like I was in Africa. I felt like I was in that part of the world. That's amazing. And this IP Up takes you there. It takes you to that part of the world. It's very in line, I think, with Animal Kingdom. And then there is a lot of exotic, like birds and what have you, in this film that you can obviously represent in this park, which they've been representing in this park, like you said, George, for a long time already. And Disney does do that. We talk about all the time here on the channel where they beta test these IPs. Why do you think there's a Zootopia meet and greet over there in Bathroom Row at DCA? Because Zootopia is likely being eyed for DCA. Now, where will it end up? We don't know. Maybe it will go into Disneyland. Who knows? But I think there is a strong possibility it will probably end up in DCA. But they beta test this stuff, and they've been doing that for years. You know what I'm saying? So.
And also, too, Kevin is going to be utilized as part of the IP carousel, which actually Kevin was the character that was showcased at D23 in the Imagineering pavilion.
Yes, and the one thing I love about Pixar, this is an absolute. I love this. They take this really exotic bird, right? This really exotic, gorgeous bird, and they give him a name like Kevin.
Yes.
That is so Pixar.
No, it really is. And it's and the bird is a female. And it's like, but Russell named him Kevin before he found out that it was a female, because then that's when he realized that she had babies. So rather than just change it and say, okay, well, I'll come up with nope, she's still Kevin.
It's just freaking hilarious. It's
and
brilliant.
I love the walk around character of Kevin, because they also utilize her in Animal Kingdom there, where she's not necessarily a meet and greet, but she walks around greeting guests, interacting with them. So again, it's like you have an upland or an up section part of the tropical Americas. You could just put like Kevin and Russell and Carl and Doug, like you could just have them in there permanently. They'd have a permanent home.
Yeah, exactly. They already have them in the park, so now they're going to have a permanent spot for them to kind of reside in. So I think that's perfect. Now I want to kind of throw this at you and kind of see what you think about this. We're getting a Coco Dark Ride here in DCA, right? Coco would fit beautifully in this new Tropical America's land at Animal Kingdom. Is there a possibility that could be part of any kind of expansion of this land in the future? I mean, Disney does clone things.
They do. I think, honestly, once they see how popular Coco is, which we already know, without a doubt, it's going to be popular. But I really do think, because a lot of us were thinking Coco was originally going to be part of the Tropical Americas. There was going to be where the carousel was going to go. That we thought it was just going to be strictly Coco, but obviously it's not. But then we were also thinking, okay, is Coco going to go into Magic Kingdom as part of Beyond Big Thunder? It didn't. But that's a very good observation, that once Coco actually opens up at DCA, that with how popular that it's going to be, yeah, I think honestly to kind of cost cut and expand Tropical Americas at the same time, I could see them putting Coco in there for sure.
Yeah, another property which I think is less likely, but I wouldn't mind it. Now, I'm going to ask you, because I don't know if you would mind it, because you might feel it's redundant, and you know what I'm saying? Disney has a history of putting the same property in different parks, right? So we have Toy Story represented at Disneyland with Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, but then we have Toy Story represented in DCA with Midway Mania, right? Same IP, but two different attractions in two different parks. I understand Epcot already has the Three Caballeros with the Grand Fiesta Tour, right? Which I loved that attraction, by the way.
Yes.
Classic Disney. And I love the Blue Bayou vibes when you walk up to it. It's just awesome, dude. It's
Absolutely.
a freaking awesome attraction. But what about something Three Caballeros in there? I mean, you know, I don't know about Florida, but out here in California, the Three Caballeros are like, they're superstars. You know, I mean, with the celebrations we have over here in DCA and stuff, hugely popular during the holidays and stuff. I mean, could you see something Three Caballeros, like maybe like a smaller kind of dark ride or something like that?
I would love for them to incorporate the Three Caballeros into there, because I think because that the Three Caballeros as like the film, it touches upon so much of Latin, Hispanic, and Mexican culture.
It's educational. It's not just entertainment. It's educational. That's what I love about that film. That
if they were to ever, God forbid, do anything to the Grand Fiesta Tour at Epcot, even if they were to move it over to Animal Kingdom. Now, the reason why I don't think that would happen is because the structure of how that ride was built within the pavilion, I don't know if you can remember, but like going into the queue for that, it's a tight queue.
It felt like almost like a Disneyland Fantasyland dark ride in that queue. Very, very tight, very cozy, but tight.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
like most of our experiences, but but I think that if they did something, like if they did put Coco over in Epcot and or something of a bigger IP, I don't know how the operations for that. So I feel like that the Grand Fiesta Tour still fits perfectly.
No, yeah. I'm not advocating for. I'm not advocating.
No. I'm just saying, like, for that, because I had mentioned, I said if they were to move it over to Animal Kingdom, I don't think they'd do that. But I would love of how they can incorporate the Three Caballeros into the Tropical Americas is like maybe during like Hispanic Heritage Month,
right?
They just have like a specific event. Sort of like how Epcot does like Food and Wine and Flower and Garden, but have a festival over in the Tropical Americas. But it's showcased that the Three Caballeros are like the headliners.
Yes. Oh, that would be amazing. Another one this is even more of a long shot, but I want to kind of throw these out there because you never know. Sometimes Disney surprises us. I mean, they do. I mean, I was shocked when we got a Sword in the Stone float in Magic Happens.
Yes.
Where I never saw that coming. That's not exactly a hot property right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Do you think Zorro is kind of that part of the world? Could they incorporate some classic Disney, some Zorro in there? I mean, we have a little bit of Zorro representation at Disneyland with the Zocalo del Rancho, I believe it's called, or the Benicio del.
Rancho. Or as I call it, Rancho Benicio del Toro.
There we go. Exactly.
Yes.
But I mean, you know, it's not unheard of. Now, will they invest a huge amount in that property? I don't know, unless Disney maybe does like a new Zorro show.
I was just going to say, like right now, I think that would be a little bit far fetched for Disney. But I mean, Disney can do anything at that moment. But I think if they were to create something with Zorro in a new way, and it's widely popular, I mean, they could do it, you know, because that would be kind of a nice tie-in with Indiana Jones, like as like a segue, like from Indiana Jones, and then you move aside and then you move into like the Zorro section. That would be
yeah. There's a lot of potential there, man. There's a lot of potential. So we'll kind of see, you know, Latin culture lends itself very well both for animation.
Yes,
because the beautiful music, the beautiful colors of the fabrics and everything like that, it just lends itself very well to animation and the theme park experience. You can do so much with this. I mean, this land, like I said, with Avengers Campus, the sky is literally the limit. You know what I'm saying? You can do so much with it. So we'll see. But now, here's the other question: is will they do that? Will they go? Because if they're going to invest in Tropical Americas, we're going to get Tropical Americas. Will Disney
and it'll stay like that for a while.
Okay, but that's what I want to ask.
The question is, how long does it last before they would need to then invest more into it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be like that for a while. I think they're going to probably move to another part of the park.
Yeah,
before they come back to that.
Right.
But I wouldn't. I wouldn't be mad if they went right back to it. Because, like I said, I love that culture. I love that part of the world. I love the music. I love the food. I mean, that I would love to revisit it like as soon as you can. I just don't think Disney will. I think they're going to probably maybe even expand Pandora first, because we are getting new attractions here at Disneyland. I mean, at DCA for Pandora. They might do a Pandora expansion maybe in a few years or something. We don't know. But something like that, I think, is more likely. And then maybe in 15 years, we would come back to Tropical Americas and maybe add something in there, 10 or 15, you know?
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned about them possibly, you know, moving into different other sections of the park. And if you wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind actually diving into that as well, because
Sure.
there are a few other sections of the parks that I think that are in need of actually, I think Animal Kingdom just in general is in need of an expansion. And I don't necessarily mean a replacement. I mean, the park's already big. I get it. But I think this park has so much more to offer because of its uniqueness that you would never get another Disney park like this ever again.
It was so unique. I absolutely fell in love with this place, man. I say it in every video, but it was so incredible. I mean, it was so transportive, you know what I'm saying? Where like I felt like I said before, I felt like I was going to these other parts of the world. It was so authentic, you know? Yes. It had World Showcase vibes, but I dare I say it, I almost feel like Animal Kingdom executes that World Showcase thing even better in a way.
Yeah, because I actually agree with you, because you're basically walking through, like when you're over in Asia or Africa, you don't even feel like that you're in Central Florida.
No, but at Epcot, the pavilions are amazing. I'm not crapping on Epcot. It's literally, it was like this close,
but
between my two favorite parks.
They are pavilions. It doesn't make you feel like you're actually walking into the actual place setting.
You can see the other pavilions from where you stand, and you're not completely where I feel like with Animal Kingdom, you really go into these things. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Much more than World Showcase, exactly. But they do a great job with it. You know,
so kind of like what you touched upon when you had mentioned Sword in the Stone, that you know it's not a hot IP, but yet they utilized it for Magic Happens. They've been utilizing Madame Mim for Oogie Boogie Bash, which it was confirmed she's going to be back this year.
Yeah.
Again, part of the Sword in the Stone. But you and I have mentioned this many times in on the channel and what have you. I don't think it necessarily means for something to be successful, it needs to make over $1 billion at the box office.
No.
I think honestly, you could take an IP that may not be as hot when it comes to like actually the numbers, but if you create a compelling land or attraction or restaurant or what have you, it could be popular in its own right. Now, where I'm getting with that, did you want to say something first?
Well, real quick, no, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, and it works the opposite direction too. For example, Monsters Inc. is one of Pixar's most popular franchises. Mm-hmm. But when you go to DCA, it has probably one of the shortest wait times of all of the other attractions. It's not exactly a popular attraction at DCA, despite the fact it's a hugely popular IP. So the IP only goes so far. So like you said, you could have an IP that's really big, but the ride kind of flops. You can have an IP that's not really that big, but the attraction is like one of the greatest of all time. It can kind of go both ways, you know?
Correct. So where I'm getting at with this is in the very early years of Animal Kingdom, they would have like the signage and everything, and you would see the silhouettes of like the dinosaurs walking with amongst the other animals in like in a line where it says Disney's Animal Kingdom. And they also incorporated a dragon because at that time, Beastly Kingdom was supposed to be part of Animal Kingdom, and it's supposed to incorporate dragons. And I believe that the attraction was supposed to be called Dragon's Tower. And then you could also see like in the entrance marquee, you could see a dinosaur sculpted head and a dragon sculpted head. Well, now that they're removing dinosaurs and they never incorporated dragons, it's like, well, what do you do? You know, but you also had touched upon Animal Kingdom is a high representation of culture.
Right.
So if you were to take the culture and then you take the aspect of dragons. Now, again, it's not really a hot IP, but depending on what they do with it, I could possibly see Raya and the Last Dragon.
Oh, absolutely. That's an Animal Kingdom property. Absolutely, George. Because Raya and the Last Dragon, and if I'm not mistaken, it's not Vietnam. Literally, it's not Vietnam. It's a fictional place, right?
Right.
But it was heavily inspired by Vietnam. By Vietnam. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
By Vietnamese culture. So yeah, you could put that in Asia, 100%. I would actually, dude, that's a really good idea. I could see that working really, really well in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's not a hot IP, but from what I understand, the Raya meet and greets over here at DCA do pretty well.
Okay.
So I mean,
so she's still relevant.
I mean, it's relevant enough where they have brought her out a few times, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not a completely irrelevant franchise. Now, is it Encanto? No, it's not. It's not on that level at all. But I think it's popular enough where they might look at it. I don't know.
Or it may bring more popularity out into that film if they do something like this.
Right, exactly. So that's fascinating, dude. I like that idea actually a whole lot. That's a great property for Animal Kingdom.
And because you had mentioned like put it in the Asia section. Now here's the thing. We had talked about it with our buddy Slimer, and we were talking about like if they were to utilize like the Fox intellectual property of like Planet of the Apes and incorporate it into Kali River Rapids. Because I feel like in time that ride opened with the park and It is in dire need of some like change or what have you. Now the only thing is with adding Planet of the Apes in there is where Kali River Rapids resides, it's in Asia. So you would then have to incorporate something of that nature. So this is honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, this is what I would do. I would remove, and I know this would probably cost billions of dollars probably to remove completely instead of just retheming, but I would remove Kali River Rapids completely, free up all that space. You then put Raya and the Last Dragon in there because it's right into the Asia section. And then, then you would say, okay, well, it removes yet another water attraction and Florida needs more water rides, not less. Right. Well, then that comes to my other idea and we move over to Africa and we put in what Paris is getting with the Lion King.
Yeah, I would love to see Lion King. Yeah, the only thing, and I'll have an open mind with this Lion King attraction. You know what I'm saying? It looks like a flume ride, like similar to Tiana's, right? That's cool. That's fine. I've always been a little critical of that concept because when I think of Lion King, I don't think of a water ride.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And the only issue, because I agree with you, Lion King is where you put, Animal Kingdom is where you put the Lion King. Mm-hmm. I just would, and you can't do it now because they're doing Indiana Jones. But for me, Lion King feels like that ride system. Yeah. The Jeeps, going on a safari, like these big show scenes. That's Lion King. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, I wish they could do that. I don't know if they would do that, though. Two of the same kind of ride system in one park. I know they've done it before with Pirates and Small World, and it's been done before. It's not completely unheard of. I don't know if they can maybe tweak that ride a little bit where it's not totally the same.
I have another ride system kind of theory they could use for the Lion King.
What's that?
And it's a ride system. Now, obviously, operations is a nightmare I think it's at Knott's Berry Farm, and it's rarely opened. I don't know. It's something like where it's like you're riding like on a horse.
Yeah, it's like a Tron coaster kind of setup,
sort
right?
of like that.
Yeah, I saw that when I was there with I went there with Casual last year, and yeah, I saw that thing, the Pony Express, I think it's called.
Pony Express, that's what it is, yes. Which is my second theme song, by the way, if everyone wants to know, is Pony by Genuine. So.
Yeah, it's also your nickname, right?
That is, yes.
That's George's name at his night job.
Exactly.
He's called the Pony Express.
It's like, of course, it's like I'm not the Italian stallion for nothing. It's like,
yeah, he's just like.
But what I thought was, what if they incorporated a ride system like that, where it's like, and that's a perfect example that you use, kind of like Tron, but we sit on animals.
That would be cool.
So because then when we go into the Pride Lands and we go into the Elephant Graveyard and we go into the Oasis,
Right.
we're actually on animals set in their environment.
That would be dope.
So the ride vehicle, so you sit on an individual animal, but it's 2x2 and they're connected, but they're different animals. So you have like a herd train of antelope. You have a herd train of zebra. You have a herd train of
wildebeest.
Wildebeest.
Yeah, it could be anything. Yeah, that's dope, dude. That's dope. Now, not to get too far off topic, but you did mention your nickname is Pony Express.
Yes.
Please welcome to the stage, Pony Express. Get those dollar bills out. No, actually, a friend of ours last night said that when we did the live show with Jay and Tones, I played that for Jay because we were hyping up that he won, best director, right, for his short film, and she was joking, saying that when we played that music, it sounded like a strip club announcement.
Yeah, it does. Yes,
it absolutely does. I 100% agree with you on that. But that's a great idea. There's a lot you can do with it, and I'm open to seeing what they do with the flume ride concept with Lion King. I'm not totally opposed to it. I'm not saying that, look, there is water in that movie. Can You Feel the Love Tonight is a bunch of waterfalls and greenery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, for me personally, when I think Lion King attraction, I think like a dusty, like off-road safari kind of vibe. I don't feel like a boat thing, I don't know.
And especially because the drop is like right below Pride Rock. So that to me even feels kind of weird because Pride Rock doesn't have any water surrounding it. It
doesn't, but we don't know what the show scene is going up the lift. If the lift is a storm coming into the Pride Lands, and
that's true.
And then you have projection mapping all on the walls of it flooding. Then it kind of makes sense that why there's a waterfall right by Pride Rock. I'm just spitballing here, bro.
Well, that's true too.
I have no special access or inside information.
But it does also make me wonder too the challenge that they're going to have with that ride, because Paris does get winter.
Yeah.
So that's like putting like a water ride up here in Pennsylvania.
Hey, George.
And
we get winter out here in California too, bro. It gets a mean, brisk 67 degrees in January out here.
Oh,
bro.
I feel for you, man. That's like
67 degrees, bro.
That's torturous. I do have to say though, folks, because OG is so used to the California heat that the second that a degree is 1/10 lower than what it is. Oh, dude, man, like he just he freezes, like literally, like. I forget where we were at.
We were waiting for Storytellers Cafe at the Grand Cali.
Yes, that was it.
I'll never forget it. They had us waiting forever out there, right outside where the pool is.
Yes.
And I was freezing. I couldn't. I am a Californian. I cannot stand that cold. It was probably low 60s, I would say, maybe high 50s that day. Yeah. And I was so uncomfortable, man.
Just for research purposes, I should fly you out here when we're having like a really bad winter storm where it gets like -20.
Oh man, when we moved down after we had a bad earthquake in the mid 90s, and my whole family moved to Chicago. I said it many times because we got Italians out there in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And we moved out to Chicago after a big earthquake here. Thought we were going to stay down there. To be honest with you, I mean, we were planning on living there. We ended up only lasting like 3 or 4 months because of those winters. We even walking to your mailbox hurt. I mean, it was so cold. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. Dude, that was so uncomfortable. I don't know how you do it, George. When you have that wind chill factor and everything, how do you do that? How do you live like that every year?
Honestly, it's getting worse and worse, especially as I'm getting older, because like my joints and bones don't move the way that they do. Outside of a bedroom setting, that is, but
yeah, right, exactly. suddenly you get all kinds of you're like bionic,
Yeah,
But yeah, no, that's rough, man. Yeah. It's rough.
That's why you take your vitamin C, your vitamin D, your vitamin B.
Yeah, exactly. You take all the vitamins. Speaking of which, not to get too far off topic, today I went to the doctor. I got some blood work done. Pro tip. don't pound a Monster energy drink before you get your blood work done.
Oh shit.
Yeah, my sugar was a little high. It's cool though.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. I'll be fine. I'm not gonna die. But
No,
go ahead,
good.
George. I do apologize.
No, you're good. And then my last section that I would actually incorporate, and this is actually a full-on expansion land added to Animal Kingdom. They have Africa, which is a high representation for the Lion King. They have Asia, which would represent around about Raya and the Last Dragon. And then I would add India into Animal Kingdom. And what would I put in India? And compliments to friend of the channel, Florentine, I would have to put in the Jungle Book.
Oh, Jungle Book would be great, dude. And that's still a popular IP. Look, I know that the Jungle Book live action now, believe it or not, is actually almost a decade old. I can't even believe that. But it is. I think it came out in 2016. But it made $1 billion. I mean, it was a powerhouse. I mean, this franchise, as of a decade ago, was still very, very popular. I don't know the numbers with the merchandise and stuff, but I'm sure it does really well. Do it, Disney. Do India. I know they've been kicking the tires on India for Epcot. I've heard that before. So, I mean, I think actually though that would be a better. I think India's a better fit though for Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, over Epcot for sure.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. Animal Kingdom has so much potential, bro. Like I'm telling you, if I was a Florida local, that's my park. I'd be there the most. Absolutely, that would be where I would go the most. I just loved it. But yeah, India would be perfect actually. So they don't have any India representation over there that we know of?
Not as far as like a full-fledged like land or area or any attraction.
That's interesting. Yeah, we could use India over there. I think that'd be fun.
Now, of course, now with the Jungle
culture
Book
too. Beautiful.
Oh, it really is. And especially because they can kind of go either way, because if they go with the live action Jungle Book, they can really utilize like the actual like depiction of India, kind of like in the Kipling novel of the Jungle Book.
Right.
Or they can also touch upon the classic animated film as well, with all like the classic music, like with the Bare Necessities and I Want to Be Like You and Trust in Me and everything. Like that would be
awesome. That would be awesome.
They utilized Kaa quite a bit with the villains, because when we were at D23, Rita Ora came out, and when with the representation of the villains land, she sang Trust in Me. That was from the Jungle Book when Kaa was hypnotizing Mowgli, and with the villains they also incorporated Kaa into that. So it's like you never know in time, you know.
I think that would be such a perfect franchise for that park. I love the cultural element with India. Obviously it's animal based. You know, that property Jungle Book. It's also Walt Disney's last animated film. This is the last movie that Walt Disney worked on. So it's a beautiful tribute and nod to him too. So yeah, it checks every box for me personally. But Italiano, fascinating conversation about my favorite park at Walt Disney World. It's going to be interesting. I kind of want to bring on, actually, I really want to bring on Evan Patel again. And kind of pick his brain in regards to some of this Walt Disney World stuff, because he's been doing some fantastic content with, like, on Twitter and stuff. Like he released a lot of videos and what have you, and giving his thoughts. But I really want to bring him on and kind of pick his brain in regards to like this DAC expansion and all that. When you get back from your cruise, let's talk to Evan and see if we can come back on channel and like just talk shop with him. I think this would be like, this kind of stuff would be perfect with him, I think, you know?
Absolutely. And what we could actually do is when we have him on, have him watch this video.
Yeah, we can react to this and see
and
what
kind of like and get his points of like what we talked about.
Yeah. No, well said. Italiano, where can they find you on social media, sir?
You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. And remember, Disney, if you give Animal Kingdom a lot of cool stuff, be fair to California too.
Yeah. Oh, so y'all ain't gonna let nobody disrespect the West Coast, huh?
Come on, Disney. Don't disrespect the West Coast. Give us a little bit of that love too. You know what I'm saying? No,
Can't it's like, can you feel the love tonight?
come on, send some love, send some love. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below with all your thoughts and opinions on what we talked about. If you have some ideas for Animal Kingdom and any possible future expansion, whether it be for Tropical Americas or anything else in either area of the park, let us know. We would absolutely love to hear from you. And until the next time, peace.